Now at 1, paint at the pump decreases for Angelenos as gas prices drop, with the U.S. releasing more barrels of oil from the country's reserve. Good afternoon. This is the KTLA 5 News at 1. I'm Glenn Walker.
And I'm Lou Parker. Now more countries are joining the United States in releasing oil in an effort to ease gas prices.
The International Energy Agency says its 31 member nations agreed to releasing reserves. KTLA's Mark Messer live now in Palms with details. Mark?
Yeah, Glenn and Lou, good afternoon. As you mentioned, from Palms, where gas right now going for about $6.50 a gallon. And even with those steep prices, there is some relief on the way, and it's through what you were just talking about. There's reserves being released here in the United States, and now we're getting help from abroad.
I make a little money. I got to spend a lot of money in gas.
Prices are really bad right now. It's really a pain right now. Pain at the pump right now.
It's the story so many Southern Californians are telling these days. They're fed up with the high gas prices.
It makes an impact, so hopefully it can come down soon enough.
Despite the frustration, prices are down considerably. LA County recently saw the biggest price drop since April of 2020. But tell that to drivers who are shelling out more than $6 per gallon. It's hard to notice the difference.
It's still pretty high right now, honestly.
Actions are underway nationally and internationally to provide relief. Members of the International Energy Agency, that's the United States, most of Europe, Canada, Mexico, Japan, and South Korea, just announced they'll release more oil from their reserves. The exact amount will come next week, but the news comes one day after President Biden announced the release of 180 million barrels of U.S. oil reserves over the next 6 months, the largest in the nation's history.
As the president so clearly stated yesterday, ultimately, we need to reduce our reliance on our dependence on oil altogether.
The goal is to stop importing oil from Russia, which is facing international punishment for invading Ukraine. Russia is the world's second largest exporter of crude and the world's third largest producer. There's a live look at what consumers are paying here for a gallon of gas, at least for premium in Palms. And there is another way that we could actually lower prices for some gasoline. And the way to do that is if OPEC increased their production. But there's something called OPEC Plus, and that's where some of the organizations aligned with OPEC are aligned with Russia, and they don't want to upset their allies. So right now they're staying put. So it looks like prices are going to be staying where they are, at least for the immediate future. We'll have more on the story for you in the news at 3. But for now, Mark Messer, live in Palms, KTLA 5 News.
All right, thank you, Mark. All new vehicles sold in the U.S. must get an average of at least 40 miles per gallon by 2026. Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg making the announcement earlier today.
Transportation is the second largest cost for American families, only behind housing. Middle income and low income households spend almost 20% of their paycheck on transportation. Now, this issue has been building for years.
The new fuel economy would save drivers about $1,400 in gas during the lifetime of the car, according to Buttigieg. Carbon dioxide emissions would drop by 2.5 billion metric tons by the year 2050.
Turning now to the war in Ukraine, attacks are continuing into a 5th week, with one airstrike reportedly carried out by Ukraine on a Russian oil base. KTLA 5's Corrine Winter has been covering this story. She's live in the news center with the latest details. Hi, Corrine.
Hi, Lou. Ukrainian officials would not confirm or deny if they're behind this attack. Now, the White House was also pressed on whether this missile strike, if it came from Ukraine, was justified. They said this is a war that Putin started.
A helicopter strike on a fuel depot. Surveillance video captured the missile attack, not by the Russians, but Ukrainian forces. That's what the governor of Russia's Belgorod region is alleging, accusing Ukraine of the military helicopter attack inside Russian territory that hit a fuel storage facility, igniting millions of gallons of fuel.
The attacks on the Russian territory, they just reflect the real intention of the Ukrainian side and the real intention for any peace talks and gestures that could lead to certain openings.
The White House would not comment on Ukraine's possible military tactics, saying this is a war of aggression that President Vladimir Putin started.
We've seen the people of Ukraine fight valiantly in the face of unprovoked Russian brutality, but there is one aggressor here, and that is President Putin and the Russian military at his direction.
The deputy Russian ambassador to the UN blamed Ukraine for the attack, but Ukraine's defense minister wouldn't confirm or deny if they're responsible for the strike, only saying